Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start on our backs today in supine butterfly. So really gentle hip opener. So you just slowly start to bring yourself down. Once you've laid on your back, bring the soles of your feet together and knees out to the side. If this feels like a lot for your hips, you always have an option to bring props underneath your knees or your thighs to just give you that extra support so you don't feel like you're holding your body up and you can truly kind of just melt into this place. Okay. So once you've landed in this spot here on your mat, just take a deep breath in through your nose, fill all the way up. And then exhale out through your mouth and just allow your body to sink a little deeper. Maybe even an audible sigh. Inhale breath through your nose. Feel your chest and belly start to rise up. And then exhale, just let that go. Allow your body to rest heavier. Let's take a couple more breaths just to simply ground together. Now inhale through your nose. Maybe even slight pause at the top. And then exhale to release. Let's take 2 more breaths in. Pause. And exhale. Let that go. Last full breath in. And full breath out. Intentionality is really important within this practice of our motivation to why we show up on this mat. And so before you can really set an intention, playing with our last yama of truthfulness is just to dive into how does your body really feel this morning? What level of depth does it really need? And what are you truly craving from these next 60 minutes together? So allow your gaze to just go within, almost like you're scanning your body, just noticing any areas that feel creaky or sticky or stubborn. And without judgment, just observing and using this information to begin to weave together an intention of why you showed up on your mat and what do you need from this practice. So this is an ask or a take from the universe, essentially, of you've showed up, and so what do you need back? That could be one word like peace or relaxation or energy or courage or love or drive. It can be anything, but it's something that you're calling out to. Now that you've found your intention, just take a deep breath in and imagine that you are breathing in this word, the essence of this word, everything that it encompasses. And as you exhale, just let anything else go that doesn't serve you this morning. Okay. Bring your hands to the outer edges of your knees and just help to gently guide your knees up through center. Heel toe your feet out wide to the edges of your mat, and then gently drop your knees over to the left and over to the right, almost like you're rinsing out any stickiness or any rigidity in the hips, even from that last pose. And then the next time that your knees come up through center, pause and knock knee them in towards one another. Feet will stay out wide and knees drop in towards center. Finding a little balance from our external rotation now into internal. And just as we're finding physical balance in the body, finding that balance in your intention. Because you are in an ask of what do you need from the universe for this hour, when we start to get into asks, they can become demands. And so manifestation is often asking for what we want, but the balance of this is also knowing that in order to take, we need to give. And so what can you give to this practice this morning? Can you give faith or trust in yourself? Maybe it's giving compassion or kindness or gentleness, so that whatever you want to bring in, you're also giving out not only to the world, but also to you. So just pause with that for a moment, an internal rotation, looking deep within of what can you give for this hour? Non-judgment, space. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale. Imagine that you're just sending that out to this day or this moment. All right. Gently begin to release your knees away from center. Extend your legs out long and then reach your arms overhead. Just take a nice big full body stretch. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale, stay in this shape, but just simply drop. Let that go. Let's take one more big full body stretch. Inhale, reach, reach, reach. And exhale, let that release. All right, bend into your knees, plant your feet onto your mat, and then take your hands down beside your body so that your fingertips might even brush the backs of your heels. Heels are hip-width distance apart. Press into your hands, press into your feet, and on an inhale, little bridge, lift your hips away from the earth, squeeze your glutes at the top, activate the back of your legs, and then imagine you have a block between your knees and squeeze your inner thighs towards one another. On your exhale breath, slowly roll down your spine until your back is flat on your mat. All right, let's just take a couple more of those, warming up the body. Inhale breath, press into your feet, press into your hands, lift your hips, root through your shoulder blades, and then exhale, slowly lower back down. Two more. Inhale to rise, feel the effort, and then notice how it's balanced with the ease as you just lower down. One more time, inhale breath, lift up. And exhale, slowly lower back down. Pick up your right foot and then cross your right ankle over top of your left thigh. Optional, you can stay here, pressing your right hand into the inner thigh, or float your left foot off of your mat, interlace your hands behind your left hamstring or on top of your left shin. Make sure there's a flex in your right foot, so your right toes are pointing up towards your shin, so you're active through the ankle rather than pointing the toes away. All right. Notice any tension into your right glute, and can you just soften into that tension, allowing there still to be lengthening in the muscle, but less forceful and a little more gentle. Maybe you even soften into your face, relax around the creases of your eyes. Take one more full breath in. And then as you exhale, keep your legs in this shape and gently release your left foot to the earth. Make sure your left heel is walked close in. Staying in figure four, gonna take 3 bridge lifts. Hands pressed down beside you. Inhale breath, root into your left foot, begin to lift your hips up. Allow your right knee to drop out to the side. Exhale, lower back down. Let's take 2 more just like that. Inhale breath. Squeeze into your glutes and hamstrings. Rise your hips. Exhale to lower. Inhale breath to lift up. And exhale to lower down. Figure four twist. Slowly take your knees over to the left. So your right foot will plant onto the ground. Now you can always bind left hand to your right foot. Gaze can come over your right shoulder. If you don't want the bind, you don't have to take it. And if this doesn't serve you, you can always just allow your right knee to flop more over to the left rather than point up at the ceiling. If you want more sensation in this pose, feel like you're rolling your right hip that's lifted away from the earth back down, and that's going to give you a deeper opening and sensation into that hip. Even here in these first few minutes of practice, come back to your intention of why you showed up today. And then also come back to what are you giving into this pose, into this moment. On your next inhale breath, gently unwind back up through center and release your right foot back down. All right, shift your hips into the middle of your mat if they were anywhere else. And then take your left ankle and cross it over your right thigh. Figure 4 on the other side. Now you can stay here or optional to thread the needle and take your knees in towards your chest in this shape. Knowing you can always find a gentle rock side to side. You can change the grip of the hands. Just beginning to feel that invitation to open up some tension or some areas that were tense. Some areas that were maybe holding a lot of stress. And to just gently begin to move through them. Even if moving through them just simply looks like breathing. Gently release the grip of your hands. Right foot plants onto your mat. You're back in figure 4. Inhale breath, start to rise your hips up, pressing and rooting through the earth to get that lift. And then exhale, softening back down. 2 more breaths just like that. Inhale, rise up. This should feel like a little bit of effort. And then exhale, slowly lower down. 1 more time. Inhale. Root to rise, and then exhale, lower down, and then bring your knees over to the right for figure 4 twist on this side. If you are binding, right hand will meet your left foot or ankle or shin. And if you want that extra sensation, draw your left knee away from your body or roll your left hip towards the earth. Before we really get moving into some bigger and stronger movements of this practice, can you just take a couple of breaths for yourself? Also a reminder that you can't keep giving if you have nothing left to give. And so to give to this practice is also to give those breaths back to you, to fill up, so that as you step into these next moments, you're stepping in with a full cup rather than a depleted one. On your next inhale breath, unwind back through center. Uncross your left ankle. Walk your feet wide 1 more time and just windshield wiper your knees out to the left and out to the right. And when your knees come back up through center, start to take them into your chest and just give yourself a big hug for a moment. If you want to rock or create circles, you're welcome to. That feels nice for your lower back. But eventually you're going to start to rock and roll up and down the length of your spine. So hands can come onto your shins or behind your knees. Okay. Now, if this doesn't feel good, just roll to either side and make your way all the way through to tabletop. So once you come up through seated, you can cross your ankles, slide your hands forward, and then walk your knees back. All right, start to move through the spine. So without being told in this rigid place of just how to move through cat-cows, you might start there as a foundation, but don't be afraid to take your hips to the left and to the right. Really just finding some fluidity within your back. You may even allow your head to come into little semicircles. The next 5 to 7 breaths are really yours to just explore any areas that feel sticky. And instead of avoid them, actually go to them and start to just ease your way in. So trusting that what you've asked for in this practice is available, but that we also have to show up. So that's always this fine balance between giving and receiving. And this really plays with our third yama of non-stealing. So when we are stealing, we're just taking. And so to find that balance between asking and then also being open to receive, but open to giving. All right. The next time that you come all the way back through to center, pause, tuck your toes under, and then lift your hips up towards the sky and lean into your downward facing dog. The first down dog of practice might feel a little sticky. I always like to pedal out the feet like you're walking your dog. You can pick up both heels and then drop them. You may even want to ripple forward to a plank and back to a down dog a couple of times. Once again, really just finding some movement that feels good. And another really big part of non-stealing is not stealing your own joy within the practice by feeling like you need to be so rigid. So if there's something that you want to do here, please, please, please listen to your body and just feel free to move or add in or take out. That if that's what is bringing you joy in this moment, that is exactly what we are looking for. All right. Take one more breath wherever you are. And then deep bend into your knees. Walk your hands towards the back of your mat to come into a forward fold. Weight comes fully into your feet and hands can just dangle, or you can hook your hands into opposite elbow pits to just allow your forearms to dangle. Allow your chin to tuck in towards your chest. So the back of your neck is long, head is heavy. Might feel nice to just sway side to side or forward and back and start to feel the different muscles that activate to keep you in this shape. The different muscles that are lengthening and the ones that are working. And gently release the grip that you have with your hands. Turn your toes out to 10 and 2, still at the back of your mat, and then sink your hips down. Now this might feel a little bit sticky at first, and so we're just gonna find some movement and just start to kind of rock side to side. So you'll notice I'm picking up my heels. You can always take this up higher if your knees aren't quite feeling like you want your hips below your knees. And you can play with opening up a shoulder. You can start to take your movements a little bit bigger if you want, but just start to almost invite yourself into your hip creases. You can use the floor to just help you bring in that side to side movement, kind of waking up the knee and ankle and hip joints. Beautiful. All right. The next time that you come through center, pause, take your hands to the ground and then pick up your hips, lengthening up your legs. Turn your toes to face the front of your mat again, and then deep bend into your knees so much so that you have a resting place for your belly onto your thighs. Plant your left hand into the center of your mat. As you inhale, twist to the right. Straighten out your right leg. Right hand comes either to your right hip or reaches up towards the sky. See if you can bend your left knee a little bit more forward and then kick your right hip out. Should feel a nice juicy sensation through the outside of your right hip. And then as you exhale, bend back into your right knee and fold over top of your thighs. Inhale breath, find the other side. Straighten out your left leg, start to twist to the left. Bend your right knee forward. Kick your left hip out to the back corner of your mat. And then exhale, breath, gently release down. Take an inhale breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Walk your fingertips forward to a plank. Take your time to get there, starting to activate through your core. All right. Optional, you can take a full vinyasa, or I'm gonna move you through a modified one. So yogi's choice. You can lower to your knees for modified. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower down, elbows beside your rib cage. Inhale to a baby cobra. Feel your heart away from your mat. Lengthen out the spine. And then exhale, lower. Inhale, breath, press up through tabletop. And exhale, rise your hips high to the sky. Take a full breath in. And exhale, root through your hands, root through your feet. Looking forward, step your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, breath to halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees. Inhale, breath, sweep your arms all the way up. And exhale, gather your hands through heart center. Start to shift your weight into your right foot and turn your left foot to the inside of your right heel. Okay, now you can stay here, or you can slide your foot up towards your calf, or you can use one of your hands to bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. So tree pose, always fun in the mornings to play with balance. Try to find a spot in front of you that's not moving, and just allow your vision to kind of cloud around the edges, really finding your focus ahead. And then bring your awareness into your body and just soften. Soften your shoulders, soften the grip of your hands. So allowing yourself to be really focused, but yet still fluid and soft. Okay. Slowly begin to draw your left knee forward, and hands at heart center start to wrap around your left shin. Pull your left knee in towards your chest, keeping a tall spine. And then as you exhale, step all the way back to a high lunge. Release the grip of your hands. Hands reach overhead. Bend into your standing leg, and then left toe step towards the back of your mat. If you need, you can wiggle your left foot further back, or you can step it up. Just make sure that your feet are hip-width distance apart. Otherwise, if they're crisscrossed or in line with one another, you're gonna have a lot of trouble with balance. Okay, beautiful. Feel the lengthening into your left hip. And then slowly take your hands to your lower back and notice that slight sway that's happening, almost like you're hinging forward. Bend into your back knee and just start to hover it towards the ground. And as you do so, feel that slight tailbone tuck. Should feel like your hip bones are pulling up towards your ribs. And now your fingertips are pointing straight down rather than towards your back heel. You know, if it's okay, lower all the way down without your hands. If that puts strain on your knee, take your hands to the ground and then lower your knee down. Pull your elbows back together and just start to lean into your hands. Still pressing into your front foot to shift some weight back, but really opening the front of that left hip. Maybe a slight heart opener, gaze can come up. And then as you exhale, gently release the grip of your hands to your mat. Heel toe your right foot to the outside of your right hand. So you're gonna have a wider stance. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. And then turn and pivot all 10 toes to the side of your mat. Both hands can stay down and just play with lowering your left hip or lifting your right hip up. You should feel a deep sensation through that right hip. So you can choose whether you want to hover your left hip off the ground or you're more active and pressing your hips away from the earth. Make sure there's no pulling in that right knee. You can always take the foot more into the center of your mat if you'd like. Hold for one more full breath. And then turn your toes towards the top of your mat again. Lower your back knee, half splits. You can untuck your back toes if you'd like. Take your hips back and straighten out your front leg. On an inhale breath, lengthen through the spine. Reach the crown of your head forward. And then as you exhale, fold. 2 more breaths with that spinal wave. Inhale breath, lengthen out your spine. Pull your right hip back. Exhale, fold and drape. 1 more time. Inhale breath to lengthen. And exhale to fold. Bend into your front knee again. So you're coming back in towards that monkey lunge. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Skandasana. Start to walk to the left side of your mat. Turn and pivot all 10 toes to the long edge. And then bend into your back knee. So left knee will bend, right leg stays straight. When you come into this shape, right toes will turn up if your hips are lower than your knee. If your hips are above your knee, keep your right foot planted. Okay. Adding in a twist, walk your left fingertips out or left forearm onto your thigh and start to trace your right hand up to the sky. It's not only working to the hips, but also bringing in this opening through your chest. Beautiful. Maybe even closing your eyes to just allow yourself some space to feel into your physical body. And then gently release your hand down. Walk along the edge of your mat towards the front again. Turn and pivot all 10 toes. Lower your back knee, lizard. Pick up your front toes. Right toes point out to about 1 or 2 o'clock. Now you can stay up onto your hands, or you can lower onto your forearms. If you want to add in a twist in lizard, you can always start to roll to the pinky side edge of that front foot, allowing your knee to kind of splay out to the side, but knee will always line up with your ankle. Okay. If you want to add in a bind or just reach back for a twist, you're always welcome to play with variations. You're here for a few more breaths. So coming back to that intention, making sure that you're really living in the reason that you showed up on your mat. And if you're not, just simply shift your present moment so that you can get a little bit closer to your why. If you do have a hold of your bind or your twist, just gently release your hand down. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Step to a yogi squat at the top of your mat. Left foot steps outside of your left hand and hips lower down. Bring your hands to heart center. Press your palms together. Begin to open your knees out to the side as your arms press into your inner thighs. And then just humble your chin towards your chest. Take a full breath in. Feel your spine lift up all the way from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. And then exhale, just sink into the shape. Feel your feet get heavier. Shoulder blades slide away from your ears. One more breath just like that. Inhale, fill up. And exhale, let go. Release your hands down. Pick up your hips, forward fold. Turn your toes towards the top of your mat. Bend deeply into your knees to create that shelf for your belly. Plant into your left hand or fingertips. Inhale, twist to the right. Kick out your right hip, straighten your right leg, bend deeper into your left knee. Exhale, fold, bend into both knees. Inhale, breath, twist open to the other side. And exhale to fold. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. And exhale, release. Bend into your knees. Inhale, breath, sweep your arms all the way up. And exhale, gather your hands through heart center. Take a full breath in. And exhale, release the tension in your shoulders, face, and fingertips. Shift the weight into your left foot. Tree on the other side. Pick up your right heel and guide your right heel to the inside of your left heel, ankle, calf, or thigh. Right knee draws out towards the side of the room. And hands can just stay at heart center for a moment. Allow your gaze to soften. The start of inviting your body to soften despite the effort in your standing leg. So trees really have that balance of growing their roots down so that no matter how much they might sway, they have that fluidity, the capacity to be flexible. They're always, always, always rooted. And if you fall out, come back to your intention, and instead of getting frustrated, perhaps offer yourself joy or laughter or just a release from judgment. Slowly start to bring your right knee forward. Hug your right knee into your chest, hands interlace on top of your shin or behind your hamstring. As you exhale, step your right toes back, into your high lunge. Okay, don't worry if that was a little bit messy this morning. The point of the practice isn't to be perfect. It's really just to allow ourselves to feel into every inch of our body without judgment. Hands come towards your lower back again. So notice how your fingertips are more pointing towards your right heel than the ground. Bend into your back knee to hover, and it's almost like you're pressing your fingertips into your glutes so that you're starting to take that tip out of the pelvic area. If it's okay for your knees, slowly over the next couple of breaths, begin to lower your right knee towards your mat and meet into your monkey lunge. Press into your front foot to shift some weight back. Pull your elbows towards one another, and then just start to lift your sternum up towards the sky. Should feel a pretty deep opening into the front of that right hip. Hold for a full breath in, a full breath out. One more time, breathe in. And then exhale, release your hands to frame your front foot. Heel toe your left foot to the outside of your left hand. So you have a bit of a wider stance. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Turn and pivot your toes towards the left side of your mat. You can always take your left foot more into the middle. And then just see what feels good, whether you want to drop the hip and hover it, or you want to press into the ground and lift your left hip up to the earth. Both hands can stay down, or you can reach one hand over. So lots of variations of this side plank, but really just working into feeling the sensation that you need into your body. And you can always add in little movements if that feels okay. Notice if you're gripping or you're just waiting out this moment, can you just become more present? Not take away the joy that it is to move your body. On your next inhale breath, unwind back towards your lunge. So begin to turn your toes towards the top of your mat. Lower your back knee down, half splits. Send your hips back, and then lengthen out your spine. So feel like you're pulling your collarbones towards the top of your mat. As you exhale, fold belly, then heart, then head. Inhale, breath to lengthen. And exhale to fold. One more time, inhale, breath to lengthen. And exhale to fold. Shift forward, bend into your front knee, lizard. Turn your left toes out to about 10 or 11 o'clock. And then start to send your hips forward, almost like they're sinking towards the earth. Optional, roll to the pinky side edge of your left foot, adding in twists or binds, whatever you found on the first side. Knowing that this is a little bit of a longer hold, making sure that you're showing up in alignment with your intention. Whenever we come into alignment with what we really need in a moment, or what's important to us, or what we value, we really do offer ourselves the space to just simply be with us, rather than with what anyone else wants or needs or what we think we should be doing. Okay, so even if it's challenging, you should feel in this moment that you're aligned. Take one more breath in your lizard. And then gently, you can release both hands towards the ground. Tuck your back toes to lift your back knee. Turn and pivot all the way towards the right side of your mat for Skandasana. So right knee will bend, left leg straightens. Optional, take the hips down and turn your left toes up. You can start to walk your right fingertips out. Maybe you take your left hand up. If your hips are high, right forearm will come onto your thigh. Should feel a pretty deep opening into the adductors and the inner thigh. A little bit of strengthening into the glutes. Maybe you close down your eyes and soften your shoulders away from your ears. And then gently release your left hand down. Walk along the edge of your mat one more time. Turn your back toes, and then this time just step to a fold at the top of your mat. Your feet can be about hip width distance. Bend your knees, drape your body, just taking any movements that feel good. Beautiful. Release the grip of your hands. Take an inhale breath, halfway lift and lengthen. And exhale to fold. Bend into your knees. Inhale, rest, sweep your arms all the way up. And exhale, gather your hands through heart center. Take 3 full recovery breaths. So hands can come at heart center. You can take Tadasana Mountain Pose, Yogi's Choice. You roll out your shoulders, but just close down your eyes and take 3 breaths simply for you. Without being told how to breathe or what to do, to just simply be in this pause. And sometimes this pause is enough to fill back up, to give back to yourself. If your hands are down by your sides, use your inhale breath to reach your arms up again, and then exhale, take your hands back to heart center. Shift your weight into your right foot. Start to pick up your left heel. A little bit different this time. Lift your left knee up to hip height and cross your left ankle over your right thigh. Now, if this isn't available for you, you can always use your hands to just kind of help you get there. Optional, work into balance and just stay in a standing figure 4. Otherwise, start to bend into your standing leg, hinging at your hips, taking your belly towards your thighs. Hands can stay at heart center, or they can wrap around your shin. If you have blocks, that's a really great place to take them, or hands can always come all the way onto the ground. You're welcome to straighten out your standing leg, or you can take a deeper bend if your hands are on the ground. You should feel this into your left hip. Notice again, especially with balance, if you're gripping or controlling. If you need to let go of that grip, just grab a hold of a surface near you and come into this shape. It's less about being perfect than it is about allowing yourself to be in connection with your body. Couple more breaths here. And then on your next inhale breath, bring your hands back towards your heart center and slowly, slowly, slowly start to stand your way up. Bring your left knee forward and then release your left foot down. Release your hands down beside your body. Roll your shoulders once or twice and just stand in this pause. Close down your eyes. And take a couple of deep breaths. And notice how that sensation has already started to fade. There's no need to control or fix. Sometimes we just need to give ourselves time. On your next inhale breath, reach your fingertips out and up, big full body stretch. And then exhale, take your hands to your heart center. Shift your weight towards your left foot. Optional, take a hand to the wall or onto a surface near you if you want extra support. And then right knee picks up and right ankle crosses left thigh. Figure 4, take your time if you're hinging forward, maybe finding that spot that's not moving to bring your gaze to. Don't worry if you're falling out of this at any point, that you can always come back. And to really just allow yourself the curiosity to explore this pose. So whether it's exploring your own balance or exploring the opening of your right hip, exploring depth, or just exploring how your mind is reacting to this experience in your body. So instead of fighting against what is happening, can you just tune in? That joy is there in these ordinary moments, but we often risk missing out on it when we're looking for either the extraordinary or we're so stuck in what's not working that we forget what is. So just a few more breaths in this shape. Whether you love it or you hate it, to still just allow yourself the space to receive whatever is available in this moment. Take your time to slowly come back up. Hands can come through heart center. Once you come up, pick up your right knee and then release your right foot down. And once again, come into Tadasana Mountain Pose. 5 full breaths. Just roll out your shoulders. You can roll out your ankles if you need, but otherwise settle into stillness. Listen for the sounds of your inhales and your exhales. No urgency to get anywhere or to move or to shift. All right. On your next inhale, breath returns all the way up. Exhale, let's fold. Bend your knees, drape your body. One more time to twist. Bend deeply into your left knee. Inhale, straighten out your right leg. Twist open to the right. Exhale to fold. Inhale, breath, twist open to the left. And exhale to fold. Take one more halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands and make your way onto your seat. So you can take your knees back and slowly bring your feet forward. All right. Forward fold should be really nice after all of that standing. So start to pick up your hips one at a time so you can take out the soft bits and really root down through your sits bones. Now, if your knees want to curl up here, just take a couple pillows underneath. So once again, you're not holding your legs up, you can just allow them to rest. All right, inhale, breath, reach your arms up, come with a tall spine, and then exhale, start to hinge at your hips and fold forward. Just like you did in half splits, you can always take those little lifts and lowers if this is feeling like a lot. So you can always inhale, lift up slightly, and exhale, fold. If you're comfortable to just stay in your fold, continue to take those deep breaths and just allow gravity to gently draw you down. Can you start to give back to your heart, body, and mind in this moment, in this pause? Especially if that was challenging in the balance poses or in some of the sequencing today, to just simply start to give yourself what you need in this moment. So not just taking from outside of ourselves, but trusting that we have within what we need. Slowly start to walk your hands all the way back up in towards your body. Once you come up through center, just walk your hands back. You can just lean back, maybe open up the throat. If you want, you can bend your knees and drop your knees to the left and the right if your hips feel like they need a little release. Otherwise, you're welcome to roll out your ankles to keep your legs straight. And start to walk your hands back up in towards your hips. So shoulders stack over your hips, and then bend your knees if your legs are straight. If this feels too close for you to bring a knee in, you can always walk your hands further back. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. So you're now coming into a seated figure 4. Okay, so if shoulders over hips is a little bit too tight, just walk your hands back and lean back. If you want more sensation, walk your hands in close. Make sure that your right toes point up towards the ceiling. So you're flexing into that foot, which is going to support your knee from wobbling left and right. Okay. Now it might feel nice. I always like to kind of move a little bit, shift knees left and right, just making sure there's no pulling if you are moving. And then this one's going to be a little bit different. Take your left hand to your right foot. So opposite hand and foot meet. Slowly start to straighten out your bottom leg. So your right hand is still supporting you. Now lean over into that right hip. So your left hip might even lift off of the ground and just start to roll out your right hip. Okay, so you might just rock forward and back. You might take circles. If you find a spot that's really tight, you can just pause. Make sure your left hand isn't pulling your foot, it's just holding it in this open shape. So you can start to create fascial massage. So you can think of this as like what you would do with a roller or with a ball, but you're just using your own body for this. Okay. And notice the sensation. Awesome. Notice if it's pretty tight, don't be afraid to just pause, feel into that. Your body will naturally release as you relax. And then slowly you can come back up through center and release your right foot back down. Slide your left heel in and cross your left ankle over your right thigh. If you want more sensation, walk your hands in closer so that your chest is coming up towards your shin, shoulders over hips. If you need a little less sensation, just lean back into your hands. Feel like your left knee is drawing away from your body. And a nice juicy stretch into that hip. And then closing off with some fascial massage. Right hand connects to your left foot. Slowly straighten out your bottom leg. And then you can start to roll out that left hip. So walk your left hand off to the side. Lean as far over or back as you need. So there's no right or wrong way to make this movement. It really is exploratory in nature. Make sure that you're still breathing as you move through this. If there's anywhere you haven't quite gotten to, use these last couple of breaths on this side to explore that area or to work through one that's especially tight. And then you can slowly start to release your left foot down. Bend back into your right knee so that your feet are planted, and then just slowly lower down onto your mat. Just take a giant stretch. Reach through the entire front line of your body once you land down. And then exhale, let that go. Closing off with Banana Asana. Start to walk your heels to the bottom right corner of your mat. Feet can be apart or together, or you can cross your ankles. And then slowly start to peel your hands over towards the top right corner so that you're creating this crescent moon or banana shape of your body. Hands can be together. You can cactus your arms or allow one hand to glide down beside you. Feel a deep lengthening through the left side of your body. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. And then gently you can start to walk yourself back through to center. Uncross your ankles, walk your heels in, and then bring your hands back. If you need a break in between sides, you can take your knees into your chest and give yourself a hug. Otherwise, start to lengthen out again, and this time peeling over to the left. So heels walk to the bottom left corner, hands towards the top left corner. Creating space through the right side body. Feel your breath move fluidly, steadily. Gently, you can bring yourself back through center. If there's any final pose that you need to close off your practice with, you're welcome to find it now. Otherwise, you can bring yourself in, excuse me, into Shavasana. Okay, with any props that you'd like to get comfortable. Beautiful. Grounding with just a few breaths in Shavasana. Take a deep breath in through your nose, fill all the way up. And then exhale out through your mouth, let that go. Inhale through your nose. And exhale out through your mouth. One more time, just like that. Inhale through your nose. And exhale, let yourself drop into Shavasana. I am a huge believer in manifestation because I have seen the way in which things have this ability to just zip together and line up when we are aligned with what we need, but also what we're willing to give. And although I love these questions about what do you want, where do you want to be, how do you want to feel, what do you want to attract, I think that we miss a part of the equation when we forget, what do we have to give? And so for just a moment, I just want you to sit with, what do you bring to the table? Seriously, what do you have and bring to give to this world? What do you have to offer? If you're being honest with yourself, what you have is remarkable. That we are each given such unique and beautiful gifts to offer this world. And so for just a moment, linger in, what do you love about yourself? What is your gift that you can give back? Allow yourself to own all of this unapologetically. What you have isn't going to attract everyone or everything, but it will attract the people and situations that amplify you and you them. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, let that go. Now, if you need to stay in Shavasana a little longer, you're welcome to. Otherwise, you can gently start to just wiggle into fingertips and toes. Start to wake up your body. And when you're ready, coming to seated to close off your practice, but there's no rush to get there. You can bring your hands to heart center once you've landed there. When we give, we open ourselves up to receiving. But we have to remember to also give back to ourselves so that we're not giving from a place of emptiness, but instead of abundance. And so notice what happens when you give out positive energy to the world. You often bring that back. One of my favorite sayings is that your vibe attracts your tribe. And so truly just noticing, what are you putting out there? And is that aligning with what are you asking back? What are you manifesting by what you are giving out? Truly so much love and gratitude from the bottom of my heart. Namaste. Okay. So thank you for joining me this morning. If you want to stay for a journal prompt, I'll stay on for the next little bit. So you can grab a journal, pen and paper. And really this, non-stealing is very much, it's about not taking or not stealing from others. But I also think on the other side of that is, instead of just taking, how do we give instead? So the opposite really of stealing, how do we give to this world? So you can journal a couple of options. Journal about, what do you have to give to this world? Those things that you just maybe thought about in Shavasana, your funny quirks, the unique things about you, the traits that you're really proud of, your kind and full heart, or your contagious laughter. So that's one way that you can journal. Second way that you can journal is if you are quite energetic, if you're very extroverted, often we actually take somebody else's space to speak. And I know I've done this even, for example, my brother, when he got a puppy, I remember him, calling us and telling us, oh, we're so excited we got a puppy. And Eric and I were in the midst of getting a dog a month later. And, I immediately responded with, oh yeah, we're getting one too. And I immediately took their joy away because I didn't just allow them to, be in the spotlight and enjoy the story. I had to kind of bring it about me. And I did that completely unconsciously. And luckily my husband called me out on it. I was like, Lord, just let them enjoy it. And so it's just noticing when you're cutting people off, when you're using their story to tell yours, is another example of just taking from someone. So sometimes giving is just giving your full attention. So maybe that's something you can journal about. How do I give more freely of just simply showing up and listening? And then a third one could just be, are there areas in your life that you take your own joy, that you steal joy away from yourself because you're worried about the other shoe going to drop? Things are too good right now. When is this going to fall apart? Or you're afraid to find joy even in the dark. We're afraid to look for the light when it's tough. So hopefully that gives you a couple of things to just consider with joy. So yeah, either things that you love about yourself, so how you give to the world, ways that maybe you're taking other people's joy, and then also ways that maybe you're taking your own. Okay, I'll leave you with that. Thank you for joining me, and truly so much love.